Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to show you our low budget chicken processing setup. Now we did it on the front porch here because in the backyard there's all kind of stuff back there. Plus I really didn't want to butcher chickens in front of our egg laying hens. It just seemed wrong. So we started out with a sharp knife. We had this killing cone that I made from a plastic plant pot, and you can see a link to that in the description below. So the blood would go down here. I had this plastic put up here that was plastic that came with a pallet of concrete. So the blood would go down here. The heads would eventually go in there. I would stage 3 birds at a time. We'd do 3 and then we'd process them. So we'd stage the birds here. Once we got 3, we would bring them over, and we had a pot here. We heated up a pot of water on our Camp Chef stove, and we would dip the bird to loosen up the feathers. And then Jen and I would both work on one side of the sink, plucking the feathers and putting the feathers in this bucket. We did have water set up here, but right now the water is running up the hill to our greenhouse to fill up our water tanks up there. So we had water here so we could rinse the birds off and everything. Then we would move to this table, and this is where we would cut up the bird and get the guts out and everything. The entrails would go in this bucket, and then other miscellaneous things would go over there. The entrails is great food for trout, so at the end of the day, we did 9 birds that day. At the end of the day, I took all those entrails down in the evening, waded out to the river about halfway, and threw the guts out there. And I thought they would sink, but they didn't sink. They floated downriver, so I'm really hoping no one was taking a evening swim down there, or else all kinds of guts would have went floating by, and yeah, hopefully that didn't happen. Now, to help with the low budget setup here, the buckets, for the most part, we get our buckets free from a deli by where Jen works. She goes over there and they save buckets for her, so that's been a huge help. The sink here, our youngest son got on the side of the road. It had a free sign on it, and when we were processing the birds, we have a bucket underneath, and that would catch the water. So once it got a little over half full, we would take it up across the street to our property there and dump the nasty water over there. But yeah, so we have this free sink, the little metal stand I've had forever, and that just was perfect for setting that on top of there. That little table we got free at somebody's place, a garage sale or something. This table we've had forever, and it's taken a beating over the years, but it's still going. We processed 9 birds, and that was a lot of work because it was blazing hot. It was over 100 degrees on the porch here. It was one of our hottest days we've had here. We did those 9 birds, put them on ice overnight, and then the next day we chopped them up. Jen canned all of them. We actually cooked a few pieces just to taste it, barbecued them. It was great, but we canned the rest, and then we have a bunch of soup stock that we cooked, and we still need to can that. We still have 1 rooster left and 5 hens, and we're going to give the hens another week or 2 because they weren't very big. I think since we had 10 roosters, they were gorging on all the food, and the poor hens got what was left. So we're going to let them fatten up a little longer, and we kept 1 rooster with them so they'd have a protector down there with them. So in a couple weeks we'll be doing those also. Hopefully this helps you if you're thinking about making your own little low budget setup. You don't need a bunch of fancy equipment to do it, but if you're doing a large amount of birds, then yeah, you probably want a plucker and some more people. But otherwise, you're doing 10 to 20 birds, you can do that yourself and get creative and, you know, come up with a little station like this. You always want to have a sharp knife. That's most important, because you do not want to have to sit there and hack on a bird and make it suffer. Sharp, quick, get the job done. And you know, it's a tough thing to do, but that's life. If you eat meat like we do, that's, you know, part of life, and I think everybody should experience that so they really appreciate where that meat comes from. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time.